Buenas tardes, bienvenidos al Estadio Francisco y Madero. El juego entre Austria y Japón dentro de la Copa Mundial de Béisbol Sub-23 en Saltillo está a punto de comenzar. Good afternoon and welcome to Francisco y Madero Stadium. Game between Austria and Japan in the Under-23 Baseball World Cup in Saltillo is about to begin. Demos la bienvenida a los equipos participantes. Please welcome the competing teams. Entrando al terreno de juego, primero el equipo nacional de Austria. Coming onto the field first are members of Austria national team. Manager, Robert Buckle. Coaches, Clemens Sishoki, Arian Kirantes, Hiroyuki Sakanashi, Danny Hall. Y la alineación para el día de hoy en Today's Starting Lineup. Como primero en el orden, el primera base con el número 33. Batting first, first baseman, number 33, Jan Altender. Como segundo en el orden, el designado con el número 25. Batting second, designated hitter number 25, Mark Seidel. Como tercero en el orden, el jardinero derecho con el número 6. Batting third, right fielder number 6, Ferdinand Obed. Como cuarto en el orden, el receptor con el número 29, batting fourth, catcher number 29, Samuel Hackle. Como quinto en el orden, el tercera base con el número 46, batting fifth, third baseman number 46, Klaus Seiser. Como sexto en el orden, el parador en corto con el número 23, batting sixth, shortstop number 23, Felix Zimmer. Como séptimo en el orden, el jardinero izquierdo con el número 51, batting seventh, left fielder number 51, Richard Alzinger. Como octavo en el orden, el segunda base con el número 24, batting eighth, second baseman number 24, Moritz Scheischer. Como noveno en el orden, el jardinero central con el número 10, batting ninth, center fielder number 10, Eamon Manny. Y el pitcher abridor con el número 19, en today's starting pitcher number 19, Alexander Lambauer. Invitamos al resto del equipo a tomar el terreno de juego. We invite the rest of the team to take on the field. Ahora al terreno de juego, la selección nacional de Japón. And now entering the field, members of Japan national team. Manager, Masaki Saito. Coaches, Tsuyoshi Ando, Takashi Miwa, Akinori Otsuka. Y la alineación para el día de hoy en Today's Starting Lineup. Como primero en el orden, el jardinero derecho con el número 9, batting first, right fielder number 9, Kengo Takeda. Como segundo en el orden, el parador en corto con el número 6, batting second, shortstop number 6, Kai Ueda. Como tercero en el orden, el designado con el número 3, batting third, designated hitter number 3, Tomo Otosaka. Como cuarto en el orden, el jardinero izquierdo con el número 1, batting fourth, left fielder number 1, Yusuke Masago. Como quinto en el orden, el tercera base con el número 10, batting fifth, third baseman number 10, Koki Yamashita. Como sexto en el orden, el segunda base con el número 12, batting sixth, second baseman number 12, Takumi Miyoshi. Como séptimo en el orden, el primera base con el número 5, batting 7, first baseman number 5, Taishi Hiroka. Como octavo en el orden, el receptor con el número 22, batting 8, catcher number 22, Tomoya Kakinuma. Como noveno en el orden, el jardinero central con el número 8, batting 9, center fielder number 8, Kotaro Yamasaki. Y el pitcher abridor con el número 15 en Today's Starting Pitcher number 15, Akitoshi Katsuno. Invitamos al resto del equipo a tomar el terreno de juego. We invite the rest of the team to take on the field. Los umpires para este juego, today's umpires. Behind home plate, detrás de home, Jesús Telles, México. En primera base, at first base, Francisco Farías, México. En segunda base, at second base, Eddie Webb, Sudáfrica, South Africa. En tercera base, at third base, Shi Shuaye, China Taipei, Chinese Taipei. Los anotadores oficiales, official scorers, Gabriel Hardinger, Austria, Carlos del Pino, Cuba, Salvador Almaraz, México. Technical Committee, Comité Técnico, Jürgen Elsichans, Germany, Alemania. Ventura Peinado, México. Damas y caballeros, favor de ponerse de pie. Dirijan su atención a la pantalla y escuchemos atentamente los himnos nacionales. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and direct your attention to the scoreboard for the national anthems. Primero, el himno nacional de Austria. First, the national anthem of Austria. Ahora escuchemos el himno nacional de Japón. And now the national anthem of Japan. Muchas gracias por su atención. Pueden tomar asiento. Thank you. Please take your seats.
All right. All set. Check, check, check. 1, 2, check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And with that, closing in on first pitch for the final game from Saltillo on day number 4, the 2016 U23 Baseball World Cup for the World Baseball Softball Confederation. Hi, everybody. My name is Tyler Mon, the world's #1 back in action tonight. Samurai Japan, the national team of Japan, top-ranked team on the world stage, 3-0 through its first 3 games here in the Under-23 Baseball World Cup, looking to improve to 4-0 today against a team piloted by a manager who is a Japanese citizen, which is pretty cool. As you get a look there at the plate meeting for today's matchup, the evening matchup between these two clubs, which will be certainly a stern test for the nation of Austria in a first World Cup setting. First time that this national program has ever taken part in a World Cup, and this will be an opportunity for Austria to get to measure itself on the field against the best team in the world, as we are just moments away from first pitch. Masaki Saito, the manager of Japan, getting his team all squared away and set to go. He'll be sending out a lineup of 9 NPB-affiliated players and 1 who is not. 9 in the starting lineup, batting-wise, and tonight's starting pitcher, not an NPB guy. We'll tell you about him momentarily. Hiroki Sakanashi is the manager on the other side for Austria. He is a Japanese citizen, and he gets a chance to manage against his home nation today, which is something he talked about in the introductory press conference for this tournament, the U23 World Cup, which got started, of course, last Thursday. The introductory press conference that was, and then Friday we kicked off games. Japan has rolled through its first 3 matchups. Austria winless coming into this one, but a chance to play on the same field as 9 professional players who are in the starting lineup on the other side for Japan, and somebody who will be there. And tonight's starting pitcher for Japan, Akiyoshi Katsuno. We'll tell you about him as he takes the mound, and Austria with a boisterous start to their evening as they get set to head to the bat rack and kick things off in the top half of the first inning. Starting lineup and defensive alignment first, we'll take a look at Austria's 9 in the lineup, and leading things off, Jan Eltender is the first baseman. Mark Seidel, the designated hitter, hits behind him. Ferdinand Obed, who cranked a home run in Austria's opener against Australia, he's in right field and batting third. Samuel Hackel, the catcher, will bat in the cleanup spot. Klaus Seiser, the third baseman, is batting fifth. Felix Zimmerli, the shortstop, in the 6th hole. Richard Alzinger is the left fielder, batting 7th. Moritz Scheichers at second base and batting 8th, and Amin Mani will bat in the 9th spot. Defensively for Japan, Yusuke Masago, who is a terrific outfielder in left tonight. Center fielder is Kotaro Yamasaki, and in right field it's Kengo Takeda, third to first on the infield. Koki Yamashita, Kai Ueda, Takumi Miyoshi is at second base. Taishi Haruka is at first. Tomoyo Kakinuma is behind the plate, and that man is also behind the plate. That's Jesus Tellez, who is our home plate umpire from Mexico tonight. And there you get a look at the young right-hander Akiyoshi Katsuno, who will take the ball this evening and is the only member of this starting group tonight for Samurai Japan to not be in the professional ranks as of yet. He's a member of Mitsubishi Heavy Industries Nagoya at the minor league level in Japan, and gets the nod this evening for the 4th game of this 2016 U23 World Cup, with a stacked starting 8 defensively around him and a designated hitter in the lineup in Tomo Otosaka, who is one heck of a talented ball player as well. As stepping into the batter's box to get things started for us is Jan Altender, and we are just about underway here at Estadio Francisco Madero, the home of the Saraperos de Saltillo of the Mexican League. First pitch fastball is rocketed in there in the upper 80s from the right-hander Katsuno, and we are underway as Altender will lead things off for Austria, and he swings and drives one the other direction. Well struck off the bat, racing back, and at the last second reaching out to make the grab is Kengo Takeda, and that is the first out of the first inning. Got underway at just about 6:02 in the evening. Our start time tonight, perfect weather, clear skies overhead. A little bit cooler here in Saltillo than in Monterey, where the night game this evening is a matchup between Czech Republic, which will be playing the role of the home team, against Mexico, the host nation. First offering there for a called strike to Mark Seidel. So Jan Alternator flies out, put a charge into that ball out to Kengo Takeda in right. And now it is Mark Seidel's turn. Seidel's in the lineup as the designated hitter. Count is a ball and 2 strikes on him. Mark Victor Seidel from Stockerau, Austria. He's been playing baseball for about 11 years. Born on December 10th, 1995. Check that. Had my month and day flipped around. Actually, October 12th, 1995 is Mark's birthday. he'll take a called strike 3 over the outside part of the plate. So strikeout number 1 for Akiyoshi Katsuno. And again, we'll take a look at the Japanese starter who gets the nod this evening. Got a chance to watch Katsuno warm up a little bit in the bullpen prior to this outing. Fastball that touches the low 90s and a breaking pitch and changeup that he's able to spot pretty well. That pitch coming in at just over 91 miles per hour, 147 kilometers per hour. There's a swing and a drive off the bat of Ferdinand Obed to right field, but he got under it just a little bit, and Kengo Takeda will track it down in the gap, and that'll do it for Austria in the first. 3 up, 3 down go the visitors. We will head to the bottom half of the first inning. Austria scoreless, and the top-ranked team in the world, Japan, coming up. Bottom half of the first inning, and we are set to go for the first trip to the bat rack for the top-ranked team on the international stage, Samurai Japan, the official name of the Japanese national team. And starting 9 you see on the screen. We'll run through them real quickly for you as well. We'll take a look at that Austrian defensive alignment, which will get things going behind the right-hander Alexander Lambauer, who takes the mound and is set to deal a first pitch into right fielder Kengo Takeda, who will lead things off. Lambauer, young righty, high leg kick, comes across with a breaking ball to start off Takeda, and the first offering there for a called strike. Alexander, just a couple of innings worked so far in the tournament, pair of strikeouts. Comes a little bit in tight on the 0-1 offering. Kengo Takeda leads things off. He's in right field. Kai Ueda, the shortstop, will bat behind him, and then it's Tomo Otosaka, the designated hitter. Yusuke Masago is in left field batting cleanup. Koki Yamashita is the third baseman in the 5-hole. Takumi Miyoshi bats 6th. He's at second base. Taishi Haruka, the first baseman, hits in the 7th spot. Tomoyo Kakinuma, the catcher, will hit 8th. And Kotaro Yamasaki rounds things out as there is a solid single into center field off the bat of Kengo Takeda. And Japan underway with a leadoff base runner here in the bottom half of the first. Defensively for the Austrian national side, in left field, it's Richard Alzinger. Center field is Amin Mani. And right field is Ferdinand Obed, who is one of the real promising offensive players on this roster. Fastball in for a strike to the 2-hole hitter Kai Ueda. Third to first on the infield, Klaus Seiser is at third base. He's drawn in, playing about even with the bag right now, as Takeda bluffs from first and holds there. Count a ball and a strike. Shortstop is Felix Zimmerli. Richard Scheiker is at second base. And Jan Alternator is at first. There's a fly ball lifted in the air to left field. Coming on is Alzinger. He'll get there and make the catch. And throws back to first base almost in time to double off Kengo Takeda, who was moving with the pitch on a hit and run. and had to bust it back to the bag. That was a heck of a throw from Richard Alzinger in left field. Takeda, look at that. He's already at the second base bag by the time that ball is caught and slides in. That was very close at first. Jan Alternator took an extra look at our first place umpire, Francisco Ferry. Says the runner off of the pitch throw to second. Not going to be in time to get Takeda, who swiped second base with Tomo Tosaka at the plate. Umpires, it's Jesus Tellez behind the plate. He's from Mexico. At first base is Francisco Farias, also from Mexico. Eddie Webb from South Africa is at second base. And Shi Chuan Ye is at third from Chinese Taipei. Count is 2 balls and no strikes on Tomo Tosaka. Can't get over that throw from Richard Alzinger. Very nearly had an aggressive Kengo Takeda doubled off over at first. Pitch on the way from Lambauer is inside. Well, Alexander Lambauer, born on May 6th of 1998 in Dornbirn, Austria. He's been playing baseball since 2009. Had a cousin who invited him to practice. That's how he got into playing the sport. One of the crazy things about these youth levels, as that pitch misses to Otosaka, who will take first. It's a fun thing. 7 years ago, cousin invites you to practice. New sport to take on, something you fall in love with, and then all of a sudden you find yourself at 18 years old pitching against a lineup of 9 major leaguers from Japan and opposing a young pitching prospect in Akiyoshi Katsuno, who is very highly regarded. It's one of the crazy things this sport can do for you, and this will be a career highlight, a sports lifetime highlight for this young righty Lambauer, as this ball skied into right field, foul ground. It'll hit the screen. 334 feet down the lines here in Saltillo. Estadio Francisco Madero, the home of the Saraperos de Saltillo of the Mexican League's North Division, team that finished in 7th place of the 8 teams in that division this year. But a great little facility, little only comparatively in contrast with Estadio de Baseball Monterrey, where we've been for the last 3 days. Good pitch on the outside corner for a strike to Yusuke Masago. Masago, one of the real hot bats to start this tournament, 7 for his first 13 with a homer and 7 runs batted in. He's slugging .1077 to lead the U23 World Cup in that regard. There's something going on down the third base line that you would not see in many Western ballparks. Akiyoshi Katsuno, the starting pitcher for Japan, is throwing in the bullpen down the line as a called strike 3 is on the outside corner. Masago gone. First strikeout of the opening frame for Alexander Lambauer. Good breaking ball, and Samuel Hako with a nice frame on the outer part of the plate. So 2 gone. That brings up Koki Yamashita. But in an effort to stay loose, stay warm, Katsuno throwing as this ball is torched into right center field. It's going to get down, and it's going to split the outfielders, Meni and Obed. Rounding third base on the heels of Kengo Takeda is Tomo Otosaka. It's a 2-out, 2-run double to right center for Koki Yamashita. And Japan onto the board first here in the bottom of the first inning. It's 2-0. That ball crushed off the bat to one of the deep alleyways in this park. 334 down the lines, 400 to dead center field. But Yamashita connects and drives that one. The Yokohama infielder getting his club on the board, and now Lambauer will try to get out of the inning with Yamashita in scoring position. Pitch there for a called strike to Takumi Miyoshi. Miyoshi, a member of the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles. He's played in 56 games in his NPB career in Japan, a 214, 350, 264 slash line over that time. 0-1 pitch, a called strike. The interesting thing about this matchup from Japan's standpoint is Landbauer is much more of a control and command type of pitcher. He's not going to bring the upper 80s, low 90s velocity that we're seeing on the other side from Akiyoshi Katsuno, but that can very much work in the favor of a pitcher working against a lineup that is used to only seeing that type of velocity. If you are working low 80s or thereabouts and you can spot your stuff, that can present a challenge. Here's a broken bat flare to shallow right field. That'll touch down over the head of Richard Scheiker, rounding third base. Moving on contact was Yamashita. He will score. It's an RBI single for Takumi Miyoshi, who times up a little opposite field bloop, and Japan extends the lead in the first. It's 3-0. So that will bring to the plate the first baseman, Taishi Haruka. Haruka made his NPB debut this year for the Tokyo Yakult Swallows, played in just 2 games, but in those 2 games went 3 for 7 with a home run and 6 total bases. And he swings and gets under this one. High foul pop first base side. It'll hit the netting and roll back. There is a roof, kind of a sunshade, and a roof that covers the entire seating area here in Saltillo. This ballpark holds 16,000. I was saying kind of comparatively to Monterey, it's much, much smaller. Monterey, 3 decks of seats, 27,000. Bleachers throughout the outfield, concrete bleachers throughout the outfield, and 3 levels of seats on the infield. This one a much more intimate setting as a high pop right side of the infield, called for and caught by Richard Scheiker, and that will take us to the second. 3 runs on 3 hits for Japan. All of the runs coming across with 2 outs, and we move to the top of 2. Japan with the early lead, 3-0 over Austria. Samuel Hackl will lead things off for the Austrians in the top half of the second inning. 3 runs across for Japan in the bottom of the first. And the right-hander Akiyoshi Katsuno back to the mound, set to go to work against 4, 5, and 6 for Austria. First pitch on the way, breaking ball that leaves the hand a little bit too early and is sprayed high, a ball and no strikes. Hackl has been one of the real upside performers at the plate for Austria in the early going in this tournament. Takes a big rip there. 429 hitter in the early going. 3 hits in his first 7 at-bats, all singles. He has scored 1 run. Highest average among Austrian hitters coming into the day today. Takes another big hack. Austria qualified for this tournament via a strong showing in the 2015 European qualifiers. As Katsuno waits. Now sets and deals, and a swing and a miss. 3 fastballs just blown by Samuel Hockel. 1 up, 1 down here in the second inning. Manager of this Austrian team, Hiroyuki Sakanashi, as I noted, a Japanese citizen, as this one's bounced out to short. Kai Ueda with a throw to first base to retire Klaus Seiser. He's currently the manager of the Vienna Wanderers Baseball Club. But this staff, this is a very diverse staff on the Austrian side. It includes coaches from Cuba and the United States. This team got a chance to get together prior to setting out for Mexico, as there's a chopper out to short. Should be 2 putouts for Kai Ueda, and it is. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that when we return. 3 up, 3 down go the Austrians in the second, headed to the bottom half of the second inning in Saltillo. Japan out early with a 3-0 lead over Austria. Japanese catcher Tomoya Kakinuma will lead things off for Samurai Japan in the bottom half of the second inning. A 3-0 lead after 1.5 for Japan. Kakinuma takes the first pitch low from the Austrian right-hander Alexander Lambauer. Kakinuma, a member of the Chiba Lotte Marines organization in Nippon Professional Baseball. Born May 12, 1993, one of the 23-year-old guys on this U23 roster. As we were saying the other day in Monterey, during Japan's first game, U23 doesn't mean under 23, it means up to 23, basically 18 to 23-year-olds in this tournament. Challenged with an elevated fastball, and Kakinuma swings through it. There's a breaking pitch right back to the mound. Lambauer's got this one and an easy play to first. So leadoff out recorded. Japan sent 7 to the plate in that first inning and plated 3. Did leave 1 man aboard. But Austria qualified for this competition via a strong showing at the U21 European Championship a couple of years ago, back in 2014. Second place finish. Czech Republic is also here. The Czechs got their first victory yesterday with a win over South Africa. Like their European mates, they are also in action tonight. There's a swing and a slap the other direction, starting in, and now backpedaling a couple of steps, Richard Alzinger. Czech Republic taking on Mexico. That game over in Monterrey. Get you some scores from around day 4 action in the U23 World Cup, as Kotaro Yamasaki is the second out of the second inning. And we go back to the top of the order, and Kengo Takeda, he got things started for Japan in the first. One thing we learned early in this game, if you have an opportunity, probably don't test the arm of Richard Alzinger, who made that catch in left field a moment ago. Alzinger caught a fly ball off the bat of Kai Ueda, the 2-hole hitter for Japan, an inning ago. There's a nice breaking ball there, buckled Kengo Takeda. That offering misses high. And Takeda, who was aboard at first base, had started for second on the pitch. He was at second base when Alzinger caught that ball, and Alzinger unleashed a rocket to first that very nearly turned that into a 7-3 double play. Takeda barely got back home, or got back to first safely. Kengo Takeda has played in parts of 4 seasons for the Oryx Buffaloes. Pitch is clubbed to left field deep, but it is hooking foul. Takeda, over the course of his parts of 4 years in NPB play, still just 22 years old. He debuted at 19 back in 2013. He's only played in 26 games. Hasn't gotten consistent at bats yet at the highest level in Japan, as he'll sky this one out to left, and 3 up, 3 down. Good response of an inning from Alexander Lambauer, and Japan gone quickly and quietly here in the second. We'll head to the third. Japan with 3 runs in the bottom of the first inning, standing up early, 3-0 lead over Austria. Day number 4 from the U23 Baseball World Cup in Monterrey and Saltillo. Six up, 6 down so far for Austria against the Japanese right-hander Akiyoshi Katsuno, who is back to the mound for the bottom half, check that, the top half of the third inning. Austria, the visitors today, in the red jerseys and the white pants. Japan's got the full home white uniforms with the pinstripes on. Katsuno kicks and deals, and first pitch swing, grounded one left side. Good sliding stab by Kai Ueda. Throw to first in time to cut down Richard Alzinger, who has been a star in the early going. And I think Richard thought he beat that ball to the bag. Man, that is as close as it gets at first base. Richard with a couple of putouts in left last inning and one in the first, and had that terrific throw from first base I was talking about a little bit ago. Retired for the first out here against Katsuno. Austria, one thing you can say, they certainly don't look overmatched against this right-hander. He's retired the first 7 he's faced, but 5 of those have been on balls put in play. Kai Ueda at short has gotten a workout. He's had 3 of those putouts. As the 8-hole hitter Moritz Scheiker steps into the batter's box. 0-1 to him off the plate outside. Scheiker through his first few days of the tournament, coming into the day today, just 4 at-bats, 1 for 4. Also hit by a pitch. 1 strikeout and grounded into 1 double play. Fastball above the belt. So the count is in his favor now at 2 balls and a strike. One of the things you notice when you research the 24-man roster for the Austrian baseball national team at this U23 World Cup, the names of the teams back home, which are phenomenal. Moritz Scheiker is a member of the Neustadt Diving Ducks back home. Takes that fastball high. Moritz can pitch a little bit as well. He's in the lineup tonight at second base, born in Vienna. And a similar story to Alexander Lambauer. He said that back in 2004, so a few years before Alexander's story, but back in 2004, he too had a cousin that played baseball, invited him to a tryout. Now here he is on one of the biggest stages in international baseball, and he swings and bounces one out to second base, where Takumi Miyoshi will throw him out. And that'll send it to the 9 spot. May not be many. Manny has been playing baseball since he was about 5 and has won 3 different championships in his Austrian baseball career with the Vienna Wanderers, his birthplace as well. And he swings and laces one to right field, and Austria's got its first hit, a 2-out single for Manny here in the top half of the 3rd. These Austrian hitters, I mean, they haven't been fooled, and we've seen a lot of fastballs first time through the lineup from Katsuno, but it's got to give Austria some confidence that pretty much everybody has been seeing this right-hander fairly well first time through the order. So 8 up, 8 down against him, and Manny breaks up that string by slicing a single the other direction. He's aboard at first. We go back to the top of the lineup. And Jan Altenader, who flew out to right field, really crushed a ball the other direction, caught on the warning track by Kengo Takeda back in the first. We had one heck of an early game here today as Nicaragua continued its very strong opening round with a 10-5 victory in 10 innings over Chinese Taipei. Nicaragua led that game 5-4 going to the bottom of the 9th, led it with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. And then Chung Yu Chen connected for a game-tying solo homer to the opposite field off of Adolfo Flores. So we went to the 10th, and tiebreaker rules are in effect from the start of the 10th inning here in this tournament. So runners at first and second to start every inning in extras, and Nicaragua took advantage of it immediately. Plated 5 in that inning. Two of them coming home on a home run, the second of the day for Cesar Diaz, who went 3 for 5, hit a 3-run homer in the 4th inning, and the big 2-run blast in the 10th. Ronald Rivera had a 2-run single in that inning as well. And Nicaragua, which improved to 2-2 with the win, has really played well enough to be 3-1 or better. A walk-off loss to Australia in their second game, and they hung with this Japanese team until the 9th inning in their opener. 3 balls and 2 strikes on the Austrian leadoff man, Jan Altenader, who is trying to keep this inning alive after the 2-out single by Amin Meni. Bouncing ball left side, that's through for a base hit. Yamashita gave it a look, so did Ueda, rounding second base, head first into third. Great base running from Meni, who slides in safely. Back-to-back 2-out singles for Austria, threatening now here in the third. Man, that is some really impressive work on the base pass from the fleet-footed center fielder in the 9 spot, Meni, who busted around. I mean, it's not like that was a ball into the gap that was going to be a difficult throw. That's just a guy burning around the base paths who kind of knows what it's going to take to get him first to third on a single. So now Mark Seidel steps into the batter's box in an RBI opportunity situation with runners at the corners and 2 outs. First pitch on the way to him, and Katsuno misses high. Mark, a member of the Stockerau Cubs back home. He's been playing baseball since 2005, and this is a story that I would like to know. Listed in the Austrian media notes how he got into baseball. He said it was a school project in 2005. Swings and fooled by a fastball that clocks into the upper 80s in miles per hour, 136 kilometers per hour. Late on that swing. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Austrian team all up on the fence in the first base dugout chanting, "Let's go Seidel," as their DH awaits a 1-1 pitch. Fouled it off of the glove of Kakinuma. And the count now in favor of Katsuno. Seidel lists his favorite food as doner kebab, and an ideal situation, if I was ever going to hear the story of the school project, would be doing so over some doner kebab, because that sounds fantastic. First and third, 2 gone. Seidel ready. 1-2 pitch, runner away from first, swung on and missed, and that'll do it for Austria in the third inning. Pair of 2-out singles add up to runners at the corners, but Akiyoshi Katsuno gets out of the jam, and we head along to the bottom half of the third inning. Japan leading Austria 3-0 from Saltillo in game number 23 of the 2016 U23 World Cup. Set to go in the bottom half of the third inning. 2, 3, and 4 for Japan. Set to get their second look at the right-hander Alexander Lambauer, who puts in a first pitch fastball to shortstop Kai Ueda, who will lead things off for Samurai Japan in the third inning. 3 runs in the bottom of the first for Japan. Austria with a couple of 2-out singles. Last half inning, in the top of this frame, Ueda smacks that one foul into the screen. But Akiyoshi Katsuno able to get out of a first and third 2-out situation. Ueda, Tomo Otosaka, the designated hitter, and Yusuke Masago, the left fielder, due up in this inning. Ueda flew out to left field in his first trip to the plate. There is netting all the way around this facility, anchored to the roof over the seating bowl, and not just from, you know, the end of a dugout to the end of the other dugout, but all the way from down the lines. So the opportunities for foul balls are minimal for fans, but the nets obviously keep them safe because these seats are pretty close to the field at this ballpark. As the 3-2 pitch misses low, and Ueda is aboard with a leadoff walk against Lambauer here in the third. A lot less in the way of foul territory here compared to what we saw in Monterey the last few days. Much more intimate setting for these games as Tomo Otosaka steps into the batter's box. Scores from around today's action in the Under-23 World Cup. Tournament-wide, 6 games today. Runner away from first, throw to second base is a good one, but just a little bit late. Sliding in safely is Kai Ueda. Panama continued its terrific start to this tournament, improving to 4-0 with a victory over South Africa. 9-1 the final in that one in Group A. Korea matching that unbeaten start at 4-0 with a 7-2 victory over Venezuela. They pulled away late, did the Korean national team. That game was level, I believe, into the 6th inning at 1-1. Swing and a rip to right field off the bat of Tomo Otosaka. Rounding third base, now being held at the last second and very nearly hung up between third and the plate was Kai Ueda. But he hustles back into the third base bag. Otosaka, good job going with that pitch on the lower and inner half of the plate, rifling it to right field. So Ueda, that ball was hit so hard, he just didn't have time to score from second. So now runners at the corners, and Yusuke Masago, the batter. So Panama is 4-0, South Korea is 4-0. Both of those teams coming out of Group A. First pitch outside, runner off and moving, and another stolen base for Japan as Otosaka slides in safely. Cleanup hitter is Masago, looking to do some damage now with 2 men in scoring position and a 3-0 lead for his team. As I mentioned in our early game here today, Nicaragua a 10-5 victory over Chinese Taipei. So Nicaragua now 2-2. Chinese Taipei has dropped to 1-3, which is surprising for the amount of talent that that roster comprises. That's a team that won gold in the U21 World Cup just 2 years ago on home soil in Taichung. But so far, a 1-3 start for Chinese Taipei. Turned on a heartbreaker yesterday, an 8-7 loss to Australia in 10 innings. And then today they go extras again. 10-5 defeat to Nicaragua. Waiting and timing that swing, ripping it to left field is Masago. That's going to bring home 2 as the throw to the plate from Richard Alzinger is another strong one, but the throw allows Masago to advance to second base, so it is a 2-run single. And Japan with 3 straight base runners to reach. Plating 2. A walk and now back-to-back singles, and the lead is 5-0 here in the third. We'll have a visit to the mound and a conversation with Lambauer. So those are the 3 early games. Australia got a chance to take on Argentina. The Aussies kind of getting to breathe for a day. And that team really looks like they're going to be a force as we progress into the Super Round and eventually the medal round. Australia has looked very, very good. They've started this tournament unbeaten as well, improving to 4-0 with a 15-2 rout of Argentina today. And in the other game going on right now in Monterrey, Mexico, the home team, with an 8 spot in the top of the first and an 8-1 lead now in the top of the second inning over the Czech Republic. 8 runs on 8 hits already for Mexico in that game. And here we are with Japan with an early 5-0 advantage, and still nobody out in a man in scoring position in the third. And there's a drive to left center field. That'll touch down, and that'll split Meny and Alzinger and go all the way to the wall. In to score from second base is Masago. Rounding second is Yamashita, and Koki Yamashita with a 3-bagger as he stands up heading into third, and now 3 runs home in the inning for Japan and a 6-0 lead. Like that knock will be the one to do it for Alexander Lambauer. Japan, first time through the order, plated 3 in the first, and then Lambauer retired him in order in the second, but here in the third, they get to the young right-hander. They've tacked on 3 with a runner aboard at third base after the RBI triple by Koki Yamashita, and Austria will go to the bullpen for the first time. We'll tell you about the reliever when we return. 6-0, Japan leading Austria, bottom of the third in Saltillo. Adrian Blyers, the right-hander, set to take things over for Austria here in the bottom half of the third inning. He's gotten a third of an inning of work so far in his U23 Baseball World Cup stay, and the righty will try to tamp down an offensive charge from Japan. Runner aboard at third base is Koki Yamashita. Takumi Miyoshi at the plate. And first pitch fastball is high from the right-hander Blyer. 1 ball, no strikes. 6 runs on 6 hits for Japan so far. Yamashita driving that triple to plate Yusuke Masago. This game you sort of knew was going to be an uphill battle for Austria, but kind of feeling pretty good about yourselves. Your starter retires his Japanese side in order in the second. And then in the top of the third, a couple of 2-out singles for Austria. And down 3, 2 men on. Feeling pretty good if you're Austria, but strikeout of Mark Seidel ended that threat. And Japan has started to rake again at the plate here in the third as a 4-pitch walk puts Takumi Miyoshi aboard. So runners at the corners now. Still nobody out in this inning, and Taishi Haruka will step into the batter's box. Haruka popped out to second base to end the first inning. Adrian Blyer just turned 20 years old last month. He's from Bregenz, Austria. He's been playing baseball since he started with his brother 14 years ago when he was just a young kid. Struggling to finish his delivery here. As he's been missing up a good bit to these first couple of batters in the lower half of Japan's lineup. Takumi Miyoshi, the 6-hole hitter, and now Taishi Haruka in the 7th spot. 2 balls and no strikes on hit. Yamashita, the Yokohama DNA Bay Stars infielder, is aboard at third base after his knock. Miyoshi, after the walk, stands at first. And another 4-pitch free pass issued as Haruka will take his free bag. And that'll bring up Tomoya Kakihuma. Catcher grounded out back to the mound, leading off the 2nd inning. Hiroyuki Sakanashi, you got a brief glimpse of him in the Austrian dugout over on the first base side. First offering is low to Kakihuma. Inside, and that catches him on the left shoulder. So that'll bring Yamashita home from third base. 4th run of the inning. And to the 9th spot we go, and Kotaro Yamasaki. Blyer kicks and deals, and there's a grounder inside the bag at third and on into left field. Coming up firing and hitting his cutoff man was Alzinger, but nothing the Austrian infield can do, as that'll bring home 2 more. Miyoshi's home from third base. Haruka scores from second. Tomoya Kakihuma, the catcher, moves up to second base. It's a 2-run single for Kotaro Yamasaki. And that'll send us back to the top of the order, and the 9th man to bat in the inning, Kengo Takeda. And that'll bring a quick end to the day for Adrian Blyer, who's unable to record it out, as Austria will go to the bullpen once more. 6 runs home in the inning for Japan. We'll tell you about the latest Austrian arm to step onto the pitcher's mound when we return. 9-0 our score. Austria and Japan in game number 23 of the U23 Baseball World Cup in Saltillo, Mexico. new arm into the game for Austria is the designated hitter, Mark Seidel. So Austria will lose the DH as they have inserted him in the lineup, batting in the 2 spot and now on the pitcher's mound, trying to get out of a rough inning in the field for the visitors here in the 3rd. 6 runs already home, and his first pitch is a called strike. Back at the top of the order, Kengo Takeda. Runner at second base is Tomoya Kakinuma. Kotaro Yamasaki is at first, and there is a swing and a drive. Right field, well struck, but under it a little bit, as that'll settle into the glove of Ferdinand Obed. Throw into the cutoff man, Richard Scheiker, will hold Kotaro Yamasaki at first base, but tagging and advancing to third is Tomoya Kakinuma. That ball sounded pretty well thumped off the bat, but it dies in the outfield as Obed able to make the grab before the warning track. So the first out recorded here in the bottom half of the 3rd. And that'll bring up Kai Ueda, who led off this inning with a walk and a run scored against Adrian Blyer. Or check that, against Alexander Lambauer. Runner off of the pitch, thrown down to second base, not in time. Stolen base for Kotaro Yamasaki. Trying to finish off Alexander Lambauer's final line. And I believe this will be the final ledger for Lambauer today. The right-hander goes 2+ innings. 5 hits, 7 runs all earned. He walked 2 and struck out 1 batter. Swing and a grounder up the middle. That'll get at least 1 run home. The throw to first base not even going to be attempted. That's a smart play by Richard Scheiker, who wasn't going to have a chance to get Kai Ueda, who runs very well, over at first. So Scheiker thought about making the jump throw on that backhanded pick up the middle, but instead will hang on to it. Scoring from third base is Tomoya Kakinuma. And Kotaro Yamasaki will advance to third. So 7 runs home in the frame now, and it's a 10-0 lead for Japan. First pitch fastball is high to Tomo Otasaka. Japan, this is the type of dominant attack that Japan is able to put together offensively when all things are clicking. I mean, like I said, this is a starting lineup of 9 Japanese big leaguers taking on a team of young up-and-coming talent from Austria, which is in its first ever World Cup. Throw to first, and man, Kai Ueda was leaning, but he gets back in there safely ahead of the throw from Mark Seidel. So you knew it was going to be a tough one tonight, as this one skied in the air to very shallow right center field. Backpedaling and making the catch on the outfield grass is Richard Scheiker. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Yusuke Masago. You knew it was going to be an uphill battle for Austria, but even just in the first couple of innings, a lot of encouraging signs. I mean, like I said, Alexander Lambauer retires the side in order in the second, and then the Austrians put runners at first and third in the third before Akiyoshi Katsuno was able to get out of that inning. Wonder how much longer we will see Katsuno if the offense continues to hit in extended innings like this. He's once more throwing in the Japanese bullpen down the third base line as the runner's away from first. Yet another stolen base for Japan, kind of running wild now on the base paths. Kai Ueda with already his second stolen base of the inning. Yusuke Masago is the 12th batter of the third for Japan. He powers that one foul first base side. Pretty good contingent of fans in the house tonight. One of the really neat things in Saltillo so far these first couple of days of the tournament is we've seen a lot of kids in the house, school kids and youth teams. Big wave and a miss there. That ball skips away from the catcher Hockel. Throw to first is in time. Nice play by Samuel Hockel on the what would have been a wild pitch for strike 3, but he's able to retire Yusuke Masago, who has gone on strikes in a 2-3 putout to end the third inning. But Japan brings home 7 more. We'll move along to the fourth. The top-ranked team in the world all over Austria, 10-0. Seven-run bottom of the third inning for the top-ranked team in the world, and we move into the fourth. Japan 10 and Austria nothing. Back at Estadio Francisco Madero in Saltillo, Mexico. I am Tyler Mon. 10 runs on 8 hits, no errors so far for Japan. No runs, 2 hits, and no errors for Austria. As the right-hander Akiyoshi Katsuno heads back to the mound for his fourth inning of work. Retired the first 8 batters that he faced. Allowed a 2-out single to Amin Meni in the top half of the third. Single followed from Jan Alternator, but stranded aboard both of those batters when Mark Seidel struck out to end the third. So it'll be Ferdinand Obed who leads things off here in the fourth. Obed homered in a historic moment for Austrian baseball. Actually gave his team an early lead over Australia on day number 1. A 1-0 lead with a solo shot in the first inning back on Friday. Australia ended up rallying to win that game 8-1, as there's a great job by Taishi Haruka to knock that ball down on a tough hop. Takes it to the bag himself. 3 unassisted putout. And that brings up Samuel Hockel, the Austrian catcher. It's a really good play by Hockel to end the bottom half of the third inning. Final line, by the way, in total for Japan in the last half inning, 7 runs on 5 hits, 2 left aboard. First pitch there for a called strike, but Yusuke Masago with the strikeout and racing to first on a ball that got well away from Samuel Hockel, and Samuel was able to get the throw to Alternator at first for the final out of the inning. Fastball for a strike. Oh, 2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Took a little something off. Did Katsuno. That's his 4th strikeout. And 2 gone, bases empty. It'll bring up Klaus Seiser. Tough pitch to tangle with. A lot of movement on this stuff from Katsuno, and he commands it very, very well. Kakinuma behind the plate. Calls for that breaking pitch about the knees. Doesn't get the strike call. It's 1-0. Klaus Seisser's the third baseman, grounded out to short in his first trip to the plate back in the second inning. And a swing and a rope out to third on a couple of hops. Backhanded stab by Koki Yamashita. Went to a knee to field it. His throw to first retires Seisser. So Austria gone in order in the fourth. To the bottom of the fourth inning we go. Japan with a commanding lead entering the middle third of this game. 10-0 over Austria. Estadio Francisco Madero, home of the Zaraperos de Saltillo in the Mexican League, is the site for this matchup on day number 4 of the 2016 WBSC U23 World Cup. 23rd overall game of 30 in opening round play. Swinging at the 0-1 offering that he sees in the bottom of the fourth inning is Koki Yamashita, who will lead things off, banging a single into center field. Hard to believe opening round action already wraps up tomorrow. Our broadcast will be back here in Saltillo for a matchup between the 2 unbeaten teams in Group A. That's going to be a really fun game tomorrow. Panama's the home team to take on Korea. And then the night game here, Mexico will make its first trip to this ballpark of the tournament to take on South Africa. That'll be our first look at South Africa here in Saltillo as well. Leadoff single for Yamashita, and Takumi Miyoshi is the batter. Miyoshi, 56 games over parts of 4 seasons for the Golden Eagles. In Tohoku. In that time, 214, 350, 264 his slash line. This past season he saw his most action, 70 plate appearances, 63 at bats over 38 games. Still just 23 years old. Miyoshi a single. There's an errant throw over to first base that'll be over the head of Jan Elteneder, rounding second base, digging for third, and going to be in there easily. Standing up is Koki Yamashita. 2-base error charged to the pitcher Mark Seidel. And now Miyoshi, instead of batting with a runner at first base and nobody out, batting with a man 90 feet away. That took a crazy hop, just hit, I think, one of the supports for the fence in front of the camera well, and ricocheted a long way away from Jan Elteneder and everybody else on the right side, the first base side, the right field side of the field for Austria. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on Miyoshi, and the 2-2 ripped left side and on through for a base hit. It's an RBI single for Miyoshi, and Japan continues to add on. Now 11-0 here in the bottom of the fourth. So some really good matchups on deck for tomorrow. These two teams will be back at it. Japan in a pivotal game in Group B. The opening round just so happens to fall perfectly on the final day. The two unbeaten teams in Group A, Panama and South Korea, will do battle here in Saltillo. And in Monterey, the two unbeaten teams in Group B, if Japan hangs on to win this one, those two teams will match wits, Japan and Australia. I think that'll give us a good indication of just what type of Australian team we're seeing here as well, because the Aussies have really, really impressed so far. Today, a big day offensively. With that 15-2 win over Argentina. The Aussies an 8-1 victory over Austria in the opener. Then eked out back-to-back wins, 6-5 in 9 innings over Nicaragua, and 8-7 in 10 innings over Chinese Taipei, and then today beating up on Argentina. So tomorrow, going against Japan, we'll really get an idea of how deep that Australian roster is, and if they can be the top seed coming out of Group B, as this one's driven to left. Calling it the last second was the center fielder Meni, and I think that froze Alzinger as it touches down between the pair. Alzinger had a good beat on it, and then at the last second, I think maybe he screened Meni, who was calling for that ball. Yeah, just a miscommunication at the last second. So Miyoshi moves up. Taishi Haruka will be credited with a single. That didn't glance off of anybody. So I believe that goes as a base hit. Still just the one error up on the board for the Austrians. And now the batter is Tomoya Kakinuma. So that will wrap up opening round play coming up tomorrow, which is somewhat surprising that we're already through that stage of this competition. It's a good thing there's no camera feed in the booth, because when the moths that you can see flying around, some of them the size of small cars, when they come in the booth, we tend to freak out a little bit. That offering misses outside to Kaginuma, 3 balls and no strikes. The top seeds from each of these groups will cross groups once we open the Super Round. Rest day coming up on Wednesday, November 2nd. And then on Thursday, as that pitch misses low, and that will load the bases, a walk to Tomoya Kaginuma. It'll bring up Kotaro Yamasaki. Top seed from Group B will play the number 2 seed from Group A, and the top seed from Group A will play the number 3 seed from Group B, which matches Group B's number 2 and Group A's number 3. Those will be the matchups on the opening day of the Super Round. There's a liner into center field waiting for it. Meni tagging at third base and coming across to score is Takumi Miyoshi. Japan adds a second run here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Sacrifice fly to center field for Yamasaki. Everybody else stays put. Something to keep in mind here with 1 out in this inning. There is a mercy rule of 15 runs after 5 innings. So if Japan is able to put three more on the board in this inning and then hold Austria off the board in the top of the 5th, that would wrap this one up early. But still a ways away from doing that, with runners at first and second and 1 gone. Back to the top of the order we go, and Kengo Takeda. Takeda, through his first 3 trips to the plate, a single and a couple of flyouts, bounces this one back up the middle into center field for a base hit. Rounding third, Haruka, who will score. Late throw coming into third, and sliding in there safely first to third is Kakinuma. An RBI base hit, second single of the day for the leadoff man Kengo Takeda. Lead is now 13-0 for Japan. And this is just, I mean, it's like second instinct for these Japanese hitters. You hear the cliche so often about how hitting is contagious, but they just become so enmeshed in the moment when things are going this well offensively. It is just a hitting clinic. And right now, runners at the corners and one out, and you're getting into the heart of the lineup. Kai Ueda, the shortstop, steps into the batter's box. 1 for 2 today. A walk, a single, a couple of stolen bases, and 1 run scored. That single came last inning, and it was of the RBI variety. Drove home Tomoya Kakinuma. He's got a chance to do the same thing here with Kakinuma over at third base. Runner at first is Takeda. Fastball, a called strike from Mark Seidel. Felix Zimmerli, Richard Alzinger, and Moritz Scheicher will be due up for Austria in the top of the 5th. Ueda waits, takes that pitch outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Japan, with the exception of the second inning, has just been all over these Austrian arms. 1-2, that one's popped up third base side and into the Japan dugout. We'll do it again on 1 and 2. Kai Ueda is a member of the Hanshin Tigers organization in Nippon Professional Baseball. Made his NPB debut this year. Played in 1 game. Actually did not register a plate appearance. He was inserted as a pinch runner and was caught stealing. But just 20 years old is Kai Ueda, and watching him, he's got a very promising future ahead of him. Really, really fun shortstop to watch in the infield. And today, offensively, kind of giving you an idea of what he's able to do. A single, a walk, couple of stolen bases. He's also flown out, and he'll punch this one left side and through for a base hit. In to score from third is Kakinuma. Holding at second base is Kengo Takeda, and the lead continues to grow for Japan. It's now 14-0 here in the bottom of the 4th. Well, for Austria, you know, as I mentioned, you kind of know coming into a game like this that it's not going to be easy, certainly. But the thing that's important is the exposure that this gives the Austrian national program on a local level back home. Just being a part of something this big on the world stage, as the first offering is therefore a strike to Tomo Otosaka. That's huge because the future generations of Austrian baseball players see that, see the opportunities that this can provide, the pathways forward for you in this sport. And, you know, you could be somebody like Alexander Lambauer, who just 7 years ago went to a baseball practice with his cousin. Now he's pitching in a game thousands of miles from home on international television against some of the best players in the world. You can't replicate that experience in a whole lot of other sports. So that is the accomplishment. It's a momentous occasion for Austria to be here no matter what. And that was one of the things that I thought was really neat about the introductory press conference. One of the questions was to Australian manager Tony Harris about what it would be like for his team to face Austria on the opening day of the tournament. And Tony was very complimentary about just how far European baseball has come in recent years. And there have been signings of European players that have come out of the Netherlands and the Czech Republic and Italy for quite some time. But now you're starting to see players come out of places like the Canary Islands, Lithuania, German players. As that pitch will miss for a one-out walk to Tomo Otosaka. British players. We saw the Great Britain team come within one win of qualifying for the 2017 World Baseball Classic. They fell to Israel in the WBC qualifier in Brooklyn last month. So European baseball really has a lot of promise, and to see countries like Austria, like the Czech Republic, the non-traditional countries on the European baseball scene, to see them in a game like this, in a tournament like this, is really cool. Here is a potential sacrifice fly to center, certainly deep enough. Tagging from third base and scoring is Kengo Takeda on a sac fly off of the bat of Yusuke Masago. Everybody else will move up as well as Meni's throw comes back into the infield. And Japan with a 15-0 lead now in the bottom half of the fourth inning. So this Austrian national team, I mean, we know these guys, you're not going to be happy anytime you go out and you've got a game like this that's stacked against you with a score like this, but these guys, just this exposure. And the thing I'll take away from this tournament about the Austrian team is that pitch skips by Hackl and gets to the screen, and that'll enable Kai Ueda to score. Wild pitch puts Otosaka at third base now. He's the only base runner aboard. And unfortunately for Mark Seidel, he's just kind of being asked to wear it right now, the right-hander, trying to get out of this inning. But the thing that I'll take away from this experience for the Austrian national team that I'll remember for a very long time, you want to know just how much this team appreciates the opportunity to be here. There's a pop-up right side of the infield. Going to be a tough play for Alternator, and it'll hit the netting. Austria played its first game on the opening day of the tournament in Cadereyta, little ways outside of Monterrey. That game got started. It was an 8-1 loss to Australia. That game got started at 10 o'clock in the morning. At 5:30 that evening, the entire team showed up in full uniform to the opening ceremony of this World Cup. None of the other teams that played the early games did that. Went back to the hotel, resting, the stuff you would normally do ahead of a second day of competition. But for Hiroyuki Sakanashi and this team, that's a big moment. I mean, that's a moment that will be carried forward for these guys when they go home. And you go back to the Diving Ducks and the Wanderers and the Cubs and these other clubs in the Austrian Baseball League, the Home Runners, another one of those fantastic names. As Otosaka works the walk. Or check that. Yamashita works the walk. That's the thing that stands out to me about this group from Austria as we see Sakanashi, the manager, head to the mound. He's going to go make some changes on the field. As we noted when Mark Seidel came in, he was the designated hitter in this game. So by inserting him on the mound, Austria loses the DH. But it looks like they'll keep the same 9 in this game. Ferdinand Obed will shift around. It's Jan Alternator who will move from first base to right field. Obed shifts over to left field. Seidel will go to first base now. And the left fielder, Richard Alzinger, and we saw that cannon of an arm that he unloaded earlier in this game. He'll take over on the pitcher's mound. We'll tell you a little bit more about this right-hander Alzinger when we return. Pitching change in progress. Japan with a clinical offensive day and a big lead here in the bottom of the fourth. 16-0 out in front of Austria. Richard Alzinger onto the mound for the Austrians. Bottom half of the 4th inning back in Saltillo. Walk worked by Koki Yamashita brings a change on the mound as Mark Seidel's day is done. And Takumi Miyoshi is the batter now. 1-0 offering is there for a called strike. Takumi Miyoshi's been to the plate 3 times, and so far he is 2 for 2 with a walk, a couple of RBI singles, and a pair of runs scored. He pops this one up. Maybe playable, doesn't look like it will be, back on the first base side. That actually did sneak between the netting and the roof. Somebody will come away with a super here. So if you're the Austrian national team, an experience that nobody on this roster is going to forget, regardless of whether or not this team comes away from Mexico with a win. Pretty amazing experience to be a part of this competition and share a field with some of the best talent in the world. And not only that, but continue to carry the flag high for European baseball. As I was mentioning, Tony Harris, the manager of the Australian team, who is a scout for the Pittsburgh Pirates of Major League Baseball. Tony just very complimentary on how far European baseball has come, really even just in the last decade. Alzinger, 2-2 pitch is fouled away. For Japan, if you are Masaki Saito and this staff, this is kind of best case scenario in the way this offense has responded. You kind of wonder sometimes in a game like this where you're the world's #1 taking on an opponent that doesn't have quite as strong of a roster as maybe you're going to see later on in the tournament against Australia, for example, tomorrow, or against South Korea if those two teams collide in the Super Round. You worry about a letdown. When you're Japan, that's rarely, if ever, the case. We did see that in Premier 12 when Mexico really gave Japan fits. But these Japanese clubs are always extremely well prepared, and they do not take days off no matter who the opponent. Swinging a rip out to short. A good stab there by Felix Zimmerli, whose throw to first is in time. Nice play by the Austrian shortstop, and that will retire Japan here in the 4th. We will head to the 5th inning. Japan needs 3 outs to close this one down early, and for Austria, it will be 6, 7, and 8. Zimmerli, Alzinger, Scheicher to the plate as we head to the 5th. 16-0, Japan leads. Austria headed to the bat rack here in the top half of the 5th inning. Been an impressive day at the plate for Japan. 16-0 is our score, and 16 also the new number on the mound. Atsuya Hori will take over from the right-hander Akiyoshi Katsuno. Got things started, went 4 innings. 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Very impressive and efficient day for the right-handed Japanese starter, and he'll give way to the lefty Hori here in the top half of the 5th. If Japan can get 3 outs here, that would wrap up this victory due to the mercy rule early on. This is the second day of work for Atsuya Hori in this tournament. He went 2/3 of an inning and walked 3 batters in what became a pretty dicey 8th against Nicaragua in the opener for this Japanese club. Leading 3-0 in the 8th inning. Hori came on, walked Ronald Rivera and Rafael Estrada, then got a double play ball, then saw another batter, Sandy Bermudez, reach via catcher's interference, and saw Javier Robles reach via a walk. So it was bases loaded in a 3-run game for Nicaragua, where he was lifted. Junki Kishimoto got out of the jam, and Japan ended up going on to win 6-1. Swing and a miss there by Felix Zimmerli, the leadoff man and 6-hole hitter. Getting things started for Austria in the top half of the 5th inning. 16 runs on 13 hits for Japan, and like I said, what has been just a clinical day at the plate. And strike 3 called on Felix Zimmerli. Takes that pitch over the outside part of the plate, just above the belt. So there's strikeout number 1 for the left-hander Hori. And that'll bring up Richard Alzinger. Alzinger is an impressive-looking player. In the outfield, he's been very good. Came onto the mound last inning for Austria as well. You know, the other thing you got to love about this Austrian team, they're down 16 runs in the 5th inning. Everybody's on the front step, top step of the dugout, leaning against the fence, cheering on a teammate. And they're having fun. It's something that we've got to draw at least a little bit of attention to. As the count is a ball and 2 strikes here on Alzinger. 1-2 pitch, and that one's hammered in the air to left field. Got under it a little bit. And coming in is Yusuke Masago. Something that we really have to point out is they may not come away with a win tonight, but there are not many rivals in this tournament in terms of the facial hair of Tobias Dorfner on this Austrian roster, who has the big chops on the sideburns and the mustache. In addition to the long hair, there's a lot of good facial hair over in that Austrian dugout. He was the guy, in case you noticed him on the other side, as the Samurai Japan Club looking down the line at a couple of arms that are throwing in the bullpen right now. But Tobias Dorfner, we're going to name an all-looks team in this tournament. He's going to get the facial hair award, because it is fantastic. Pitch there for a called strike to Moritz Scheicher. Scheicher grounded out to second base for the second out of the 3rd inning. Young second baseman in from the left side. 0-1. That one's there at the knees for a called strike 2 in Japan. 1 strike away from putting the finishing touches on this one early. Hori comes set. And brings home the 0-2 pitch. Check swing and called on the swing, and that will do it. One heck of a day at the plate and on the mound for the Japanese national team, which wraps up a 16-0 victory over Austria. That is our final as the top-ranked team in the world improves to 4-0 and sets up a Group B showdown tomorrow against Australia to determine who the top team coming out of Group B will be when we join the Super Round. Set to get things going Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this weekend in the U23 World Cup. Our final in this one, 16-0. Japan takes down Austria. Stick with us coming up tomorrow as we conclude opening round action. 6 games on the docket. Argentina will play host to Nicaragua coming up at 10 o'clock in the morning from Cadereyta. We're back here for the unbeaten matchup between the top 2 teams in Group A. Panama, the home team. South Korea, the visitors. That's at noon. Japan will battle Australia also at noon in Monterrey. Venezuela and Czech Republic in Cadereyta for the afternoon game at 2:30. Austria will play host to Chinese Taipei in Monterrey at 6. And the night game right back here tomorrow night. The host nation, Mexico, will battle South Africa. Hope you'll join us then. I'm Tyler Mon. Thanks for tuning in. Japan takes down Austria 16-0 in 5 minutes.
dia Natal Group.